So I kind of want to give my thoughts on what I think Spider-Man 3 will be in the Spider-Man MCU third movie. I think the connections already have been set up. It's just I'm not sure if I'm the only one who has been secretly noticing this. But it's plausible that Silvermane might be the villain in Spider-Man 3. Now, where's my valid arguments to agree with this? Well, we do know the character does exist within the Marvel Cinematic Universe. Joseph Manfredi has appeared in Agents of S.H.I.E.L.D. And also in Spider-Man 3, in the first Spider-Man Homecoming, Matt Gargan mentioned some friends. Then in the second movie, Matt Gargan mentions, I have some friends that want to like Spider-Man dead. Then in the second movie, the Manfredi crime family has been mentioned. Name drop. So, do I think it's a plausibility? Yes. And also, don't forget, there is a small connection to Sandman to possibly being an enforcer for Silvermane. Because they do have, Silvermane does have an enforcer or a lieutenant in his mix called Man Mountain Marco. Basically, Michael Marco is the identity of Man Mountain Marco. They could just blend him into, they could just make an amalgamation of him and Sandman, which is highly plausible too, because don't forget the MCU does do that with some of their villains. Like think about Ego and Hela, and how they adapt some characters around for their own ways. Don't forget in the comics and also TV shows, Hawkeye has been the smart mouth guy, and now they gave that to Tony. It's plausible. It's plausible Silvermane might be the villain. He could be creating he can create the enforcers. He could be responsible for creating the enforcers to fight Spider-Man in the third movie. We could get a variation of a villain team up in Spider-Man 3. It's plausible. The connections have been set up for the Silvermane or the Manfredi crime family to work together. Again, we can just get a variation of the enforcers being maybe they create Flint to be Sandman to break out Matt Gargan, and they give him some tech upgrades to become Scorpion and get revenge on Spider-Man. Now that we know that Spider-Man's identity is out there, maybe they accidentally kill Ned Leeds in this. That sounds like a wild plot, and that has been mentioned that it's going to be a bit of a wild plot. So I highly think we might get a variation of the crime family exploration in Spider-Man 3. And that also could bring in the backdrop of what the Daredevil's villains were in the comics, The crime families in that universe, they can also set them up, You never know what could happen. That's just a plausibility on my count. I think they might do a Silvermane story. I know we want to see Kingpin, but I think it's plausible they might give it to Silvermane. I think it's plausible. He could be responsible for creating Sandman and Scorpion. And maybe we can get a past villain like Shocker or something. Maybe Adrian Toomes feels bad for Peter, and he ultimately helps him get out of the situation, but we still have to deal with his identity being out there. How do I think they might do that? I think they just could get a scroll, say, oh, wait, that was me, sorry, guys. I can see something like that happening. It's plausible. And if we can't get Kraven, I think they might ultimately do the Slayer story as well, too. Think about that. J. Jonah Jameson was a benefactor in that story to help create the Slayers. I think it's plausible we could get variations of some classic comics, but just change up the circumstances around them. I think it's plausible. Silvermane might be the villain for Spider-Man 3. Tell me what you guys think about this. I really want to know if I'm not the only one who's thinking about Silvermane popping up in the MCU.